for the longest time, it was always luxury treatments. I think people are now starting to prioritize self-care. Don't really like the word, but it is what it is. But wellness entirely. And we saw a huge gap between the way skin, body, aesthetic clinics were trying to sell the value of what their solution is.
We actually make decisions with our right side, which is the emotional side of our brain.
Yes. I felt that.
You paint the pain point because it shows that you understand your customer, and then you talk about the desired outcome. In talking about the desired outcome, the solution then becomes the equipment.
Welcome back to another episode. I'm Sine.
I'm Cleo.
And this is The Aesthetic Perspective. Guys, today we are joined by the beautiful Malaika. We are so excited to have her here with us today. She's the co-founder of LiveSpace, a sales growth agency established in 2021. They focus on sales and revenue growth for health, beauty, and wellness brands with expertise in client acquisition and automation strategies, supporting leading skin, body, and aesthetic clinics in achieving their growth objectives. Malaika, welcome. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much. Really excited.
So excited. We already started chatting so much before this session. So I think this is going to be so valuable. And like we said, hopefully we'll have some more much needed conversations in this industry as well.
Most definitely. Really excited. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Before we start, guys, is it just me or is this year cancelling me?
No, a speeding past.
Honestly, can you guys believe that we're almost in
Literally almost Q3?
No, it's ridiculous.
I feel like when you're in sales or if you're in any sort of businessy background, we always speak about Q2, Q3, Q4, obviously.
Yes.
And the other day I mentioned this to someone and they were like, why do you speak like that? Because we literally...
Because work.
And 3 months go by so quickly.
It's ridiculous.
Right? So
I feel like you just start implementing something new and then it's 3 months later and you're like, how? Exactly. I just implemented this.
Exactly.
How is it possible?
So motivated to reach the rest of our goals in this year though. So hopefully this session is going to help most of our listeners to also reach their business goals. On that note, Malaika, obviously we've been chatting a little bit. We're so inspired by the work that you're doing already. So I want to just jump straight into it. Tell us a little bit about your story. Tell us a little bit about LiveSpace and how you got into it and just what you're passionate about.
Yeah. Well, in the long and short of it, without boring
Please bore us. We love being bored. Please share.
I think my story goes back such a long time. Funny enough, I actually started in the financial sector and realized very quickly, that purpose and passion is very important, especially when you want to make an impact.
Absolutely.
I always knew, though, that I wanted to impart and impact businesses overall. And I guess that's where sort of the marketing journey, was born. Okay. Let's call it that. But I think, over the years, something that was really close to my heart was really just understanding the true issues that business owners face and how do you really help them. Because we all have these goals, vision that we want to achieve. But how do you actually get there? Because there's so much of stuff out there.
Yes.
And because content is always available, people don't really know, okay, what should I be implementing?
Absolutely. I think we have an overflow of information. Back in the day, before all these fancy cool things, there was obviously a lack of information where now we're almost bombarded with so much. And I think it's so difficult to almost allocate what fits me and my business, for example, or me and my industry.
Yes, no, 100%. And obviously LiveSpace was born for that primary reason, right? Obviously, when you're looking to grow and scale a business, sales is very important. So, how do
Yes.
we sell and leverage the most relevant technologies and strategies that there are out there? But more than that, how do you really support a business entirely and a business owner who a lot sits on their shoulders,
Yes.
regardless of how big or small they are, really scale and track forward towards those goals and objectives that they've sort of set out. So when LiveSpace was born, that's what we set out to do. And we really do take a 360 approach. Sales is one component, marketing's one component, but having a strong team's another component. So how do you sort of build that up from the inside out, which is what you guys, talk about. But yeah, in
How
a
do
nutshell.
you how did you decide that the aesthetic industry, the health and beauty industry, is going to be your I want to almost say your goal? That's obviously what you focus on a lot. How did you decide that?
Yeah, I think, we've always been really passionate about direct to consumer businesses because you're a business that's selling to other people.
Yes.
And I think, being passionate about the business side's one thing, but also understanding how customers buy. Obviously, the shift in the wellness space has really moved forward quite fast. And here in South Africa, we always quite back when it comes to certain things.
Yes. Yes.
So in the aesthetic space, and you guys, would probably be able to preach on this, for the longest time, it was always luxury treatments. I think people are now starting to prioritize self-care. Don't really like
Yes.
the word, but it
Yes.
is what it is. But wellness entirely. And we saw a huge gap between the way skin, body, aesthetic clinics were trying to sell the value of what their solution is, but a huge misalignment between the way me as a consumer and the way you as a business is trying to sell to me and how I actually buy.
Absolutely.
I feel like people are, and you can say if this is true, but I feel like our end users, the consumers, are so much more educated because they've got social media and they've got the internet, and you can quickly chat GPT a whole skincare regime.
Yes.
And I feel like that's where the industry is going. Everything is going to be digital. It's going to tell you which clinic to go to. It's going to tell you, it's going to give you a plan maybe. And it's really more offering what the client wants and what they've done their research on. That's why we work with brands where people would walk in, they don't ask for maybe one specific technology, they ask for the brand.
Yes.
And that's something that I feel it differs from other industries.
Most definitely. Most definitely. And I think people want the solution.
Absolutely.
Right? So when you talk about the brand, they're like, okay, that's my solution.
Yes.
And you as the clinic are supposed to come to them and say, okay, that's the solution. Here's how I'm going to help you
actually
get
achieve
to, the end result. But 100%, I think people are way more intelligent about certain things. There's lots of options as well. So how do you actually just differentiate yourself and showcase the true essence of what you're looking to achieve, right? Because, that's the whole point of skin body aesthetic clinics overall.
I'm going to ask you an interesting question. I was quite interested until I started doing my own research. I always thought that opening up your own business isn't feasible in the aesthetic or beauty industry because it's too saturated. Do you think it's too saturated?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not. A couple of reasons. Maybe I'll just highlight on two. But firstly, there's more than enough customers out there for every business. Right? First thing. Second thing, I think the most important component is actually being able to understand what your value proposition is. I think a lot of the time, most clinics want to do everything and anything.
Yes.
And let's be honest, people want specialists. Right. So if you understand what goal you're looking to achieve, maybe it's in the skincare space, maybe it's not even everything under skincare. What happens is you start to build up brand and authority in the market and people trust you. And again, businesses don't need millions of clients,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Even regardless of whatever revenue goal you're looking to hit. So I think 100% not, the market's not saturated. It's more the strategic component when you're positioning yourself that allows you to have your piece of the pie.
And within your LiveSpace approach, would you say that you guys actually teach the clinic how to position or how to select their speciality, or how do you kind of help them overcome that?
Yeah, 100%. One of the most important questions we always go in to our clinics and we ask is, okay, what's your most high selling treatment? Or the most common, or the thing that people are always like, I want that from
Yes.
you. Because if you are in the space, there's something that most customers are attracted to. And obviously, as you grow your business and scale, you want to buy more machines, which is perfect. It's great. But then from there, breaking it down backwards, I think something very important, people don't want generic, like buy one session and, come test us out, but rather people are looking to buy into the transformation, right?
Okay.
So we always step forward. So how do you create a unique offering?
Absolutely.
Right. That's tailored to the clients that you, or the patients that you want to attract, because people want the solution. They don't want the treatment, let's be honest, or even the product, right? Sometimes people rather say, look, I am struggling with adult acne. That's my pain point.
Yes.
My desired outcome is to wear makeup without feeling self-conscious or have low self-esteem. So understanding those pain points, you as a specialist, you already know what a client needs, essentially.
How do you, before we go too off topic, one more question, then we will go back to our the questions I actually had for you. But we often capitalize, being a distributor who distributes both equipment and skincare. How do you balance? Because I always say, look at the time. It takes you, or this is something that I learned, but it takes you 30 minutes to do a treatment. You make, 300 Rand.
Yeah.
But it takes you 5 minutes to sell a serum. You make the same money. So how do you balance retail versus professional? Is there a specific way that you do it, or a specific ratio that you look at? Is this dependent on each clinic?
I would definitely say it's dependent on each clinic. I think, again, leveraging the type of clientele that you're coming in. Remember, the key component there is understanding the end goal for the client. So, hey, if you want this desired outcome, you just did your peel. Here's a serum to go with it. Because, again, that's how people buy, right?
Yes,
so I think it's clinic
absolutely.
on clinic,
Okay.
and then leveraging how to combine retail and...
I think it's so valuable because so often, if I think about myself, when I was still a therapist, I was really good at upselling during treatments, but not with retail. Like I would always have them back for another treatment, upsell maybe to a more expensive treatment. I was really good when it came to the actual treatment side of things, but I always had this block when it came to retail because I felt like, obviously, they've just spent X amount of money on this treatment. They don't have enough. But as soon as you have that relationship or that established connection, it's so natural to just give them what they want, because that's why they actually come to you, is for that
100%.
holistic approach. They want to actually see the results. And I think as soon as you click that within your sales mindset, it becomes so natural to actually upsell when it comes to your serums or your moisturizers, etc.
Like the complete opposite. Like, I'll be okay if I never see you again, but
Take the serum.
Listen, it was all about the ROI, right?
Yes.
So how much am I making from you?
Exactly. And how much time are we spending together to make that?
yes, like for me, it was all about retail, and I think you also capitalize on the staff and their strengths in your clinic as well, which is super important. One of the aspects that you guys focus on is obviously social media. And having learned that myself in the last few years, social media is the new cold calling.
Yes.
Even in sales, I get more valuable leads or more quality leads on social media compared to the traditional knocking on everyone's door. Can I sell you something? We don't take that approach. We get to filter that out now. What are some of the common mistakes that you see brands make or your clients make with social media?
That's a great question. I'll be honest, I think one of the most common mistakes that we've seen is actually crossing social media organic content and content that helps you sell a treatment or sell a product.
So valuable.
I think, because social media has become so vast, so open, there's so much of content out there. We assume, and we did say our consumer is very intelligent, but we also assume that our consumer knows what they need, right?
Very true. I think we do that, absolutely. So, instead of telling them what they need, we assume that they already know.
Exactly. But that's why they look to us as experts, right?
Very true.
So social media organic, great brand building, community building trust, expertise in the market. So someone's able to see, okay, they know exactly what they're talking about. But then sales related content is actually very different.
It's so different. And I see a lot of clinics, they're only doing sales, but they sales driven content.
Yes.
But they have no engagement because clients can check that on the internet or they see exactly the same thing all over. So making it your own is so important. People want to see the faces. They want to see the personality. They want the digital brand to be more around a person than an actual product. I can
most definitely
post as many pictures as I want about a device, but when you actually have a personality driving it, that's when you see the actual engagement. So that's really, really valuable. Is there any other mistakes that you would say to look out for?
I think you actually hit the nail on the head by talking about personality. People buy from people, and that's actually it, right? So, a lot of the times, and let's think about ourselves, like what is that customer journey that you sort of go through? Maybe I saw a post organically, or maybe I saw an ad. What do you typically do? You go onto the page and you try to see, okay, who's the best therapist that I can call in and book with? Or when I'm making my booking, maybe I can say that I want to book with Cleo, for instance, right? So I think that face, and maybe it's not even just one face, maybe it's multiple faces, having that at the forefront, coupled with value-based marketing. Let's share the content, right? No one's going to steal it because it becomes your own, and it becomes part of your journey with the client and the reason why they actually choose you versus someone else. And then just understanding that organic content and value building, let's not always put call to actions there and expect for the best. And when we are pushing sales related content, let's still add value and show someone why this is actually made for them.
Yes, absolutely.
I want to refer back to our episode with Laurette from Demology. She spoke about exactly the same thing, and she said that sometimes people would come to Demology and expect to see her because she's built the brand so well, but there's 5 branches. So this is just a good example that we can tie in. What do you think from what you guys see and how you work? What does it take in such a saturated industry, we said now, to actually build a successful digital brand?
Again, another amazing question. I think a few things. All right. Number one, brand building is very important, right? And not the fluff brand building where, we sort of use very vanity stuff and just, push as much content as there is out there. I think really honing it into what do I actually want to communicate with my client, all right? having unique ways to communicate what you do, offers are very important, because again, social media is meant to help us. You mentioned, cold calling is not there anymore. So how do we strike the balance between adding value and selling at the same time? And then when you do have someone come in, now they're ready because they understand what you have to offer, and they're ready to take more of a journey with you and not do that one session and then maybe I'll see you again.
Yes.
Right. Okay. You understand my pain points. So I'm here for the long run. So price doesn't really become much of a key component. You're now selling on value and dream outcomes. And when they come in, touch points become very important. So that's where your therapist's reception needs to now come in. So that solid internal team actually makes or breaks return rate.
Absolutely.
How much you actually making, from each client.
I think if your team is really strong, automatically you'll have better retention of your clients or your patients, purely because the environment is so inviting. I think if you're creating that inviting space online, obviously, people will automatically draw to you. But if you lack it in person, it's like a make or break situation.
Most definitely. And I think a lot of the times we've seen the coldness on the inside of the clinic, but then on the outside, it seems so warm.
Like warm and fuzzy. Everyone's fun, having the ball. But as soon as you step in, the vibe is off.
Yeah. I think a team really does play a lot, especially when you're looking to really build that foundation and scale up. Because when you look at implementing marketing and advertising on top of that, on top of what you've already built, remember now you're getting an influx. So if the foundation's not set up properly,
there's no retention.
Yes.
So I'm so passionate about this subject, but you won't believe how many clinic owners ask us to please train the receptionist correctly to do the treatment.
Yes.
And I cannot reiterate how detrimental that is to your business.
Yes.
Your team is still super important. So if your therapist is the receptionist that has absolutely no idea what's happening
and no understanding of the skin,
you self-sabotaging.
Absolutely.
You're literally preaching to the choir. I literally had a conversation. Let's not be specific to the type of business owner. But literally, that's what she was saying. She's like, okay, my plan is I'm going to buy that machine. So, can you help me, put some strategies in place? And I was like, okay, great. And then who's going to manage clients that are coming in? And she's like, no, I've got a somatologist, or thinking about getting the somatologist. And then she can just do that. And she can also do this. And then she can also just take the bookings in, and it works vice versa with having someone who's dedicated to sales. And now you're like, okay, let me just quickly teach you how to do that. It doesn't work.
I think it's so important in a team to actually have someone allocated to a specific role, because I find with myself, we try to manage so many things. Obviously, we spoke about this in our first episode. When it comes to sales, it's not only like driving around, meeting people, chatting all day. There's so much you have to do behind the scenes. But I think as soon as you allocate someone to fulfill those roles, everyone actually gets to be uplifted and actually gets good at what they do, because their attention isn't as divided.
Yeah. Look, I'll be honest with you. Just in my experience that I've seen, a lot of the clinics that are breaking down is because of that. You want the salesperson. Actually, I think, let me track back and say, they don't see the need for a salesperson.
The value, yes.
Yeah.
Right. And the value that actually brings, and you don't realize, you think, okay, I could just get any receptionist who doesn't know how to communicate. We're selling high value treatments here. People want to have a proper conversation.
Yes.
And you guys know, you're in the sales space. It's more than just, hi, you selected X, Y, and Z date. I'm booking you in. There's a lot of value adds and touch points that you actually
Absolutely.
have
To
to
make
add.
them feel special in that moment. I want to actually go back to our original question about the mistakes that we make within social media, etc. But would you say quality over quantity is more important when it comes to posting?
Yes. Yes, I think the misconception, because we always look at the algorithm and we're like, okay, let's just post as many times as possible and hope for the best. And maybe we'll go viral and then we don't have to
Yes.
spend any money on advertising.
Yes. I'm still waiting for my viral moment.
Look, but I think it's definitely quality. I think,
Okay.
again, who are we selling to? You know, if we
Absolutely.
want to differentiate ourselves in the market, it's not about posting 10 videos in a day. But even if you can only do 1 or 2, let's make it worthwhile. And then throw in some fun stuff there, because you don't want to be boring, right? Because I think
Yes.
that is important. But valuable content is key.
I think that's definitely going to be one of the key takeaways. I have a question for you, being obviously in sales with regards to equipment. Let me ask it like this. So a lot of clinics would think that I need expensive equipment that's going to bring in money. The equipment, and we have a lot of clinic owners who they become upset with us because now the brand is not working in their clinic. But and it's not just 1 or 2 people. We actually see it across the board. They put so much weight on that machine or that device,
Yes.
thinking that that device is going to sell itself. And it absolutely does. But you are still responsible for your own marketing, for the way you build your brand.
Yeah.
Can you think of some tips for someone who's thinking of buying equipment and expensive equipment? It's your equipment is your silent business partner in your business. So what would your advice be to someone thinking about starting with equipment?
Yeah. I think before I even go to the advice component, right? And again, being in the industry, it's literally we echoing each other's thoughts here. We see it time and time again where you just put the name of the machine out there and then you hope that people know what it does, or just talk about all of the clinical benefits or all of the
Yes.
medical benefits, right? And again, I think, just to track back, and maybe this goes hand in hand with the advice component, is that how is someone buying, right? So people buy one of 2 ways. Number 1, you've got a pain point, okay, or you have a desired outcome. And in most cases, those 2 things go hand in hand. You paint the pain point because it shows that you understand your customer, and then you talk about the desired outcome. In talking about the desired outcome, the solution then becomes the equipment, right? So instead of putting all of this weight on the name of that piece of equipment, which again, fabulous, but that's not going to do all of the selling for you, right? And the truth of the matter is that that silent business partner, you've spent a few limbs to get
Yes.
her in there.
Yes.
It's
you
just a
know.
tool.
It's a tool.
You are the brand. It's a tool for you to get these desired outcomes. That's why none of the equipment should be a one size fits all.
Most definitely.
This person's going to use it like this, and this person's going to use it like this. And this one's going to use their return on investment is going to come in one way, and someone else's is going to be with maybe another handpiece. It's so variable. I think you just need to find your niche.
100%. I think to add on to that, something that we don't see a lot of clinics doing, we spoke about faces, but client testimonials.
Yes, it's such a rare thing to see online at the moment. It's almost like people are a bit shy to share their testimonials. Like back in the day, all they had was Google reviews.
Yes.
And now we have so many other things, but we forget to review.
Yeah. And I think, when we look at client testimonials, because we ask, we're like, guys, please.
Yes.
But we see all of the stuff that you're doing and you just want to talk about X machine, don't talk about that. Let's show the proof.
Yes.
Okay, because people buy from people. We know that, being in the sales world. So who best than if I see someone who's looks like me, sounds like me, has the same concerns as me. And they're like, oh, so you saw results? Because again, back to it, people buy the transformation before they've even experienced it, right? So I think we've seen it time and time again. Most of the time, clinics are more afraid to ask their clients, like, hey, you've come back, this is your 4th session or your 6th session. Obviously, you're seeing results.
Yes,
like,
and
here's
obviously
the
you're happy.
information.
Yeah.
And, client testimonials can be shot in a variety of ways.
Yes.
So, from an ROI perspective, if you want a machine to really do the selling for you, it's not the machine and the medical benefits and the scientific benefits. It is that, but it's also showing, how I'm helping my client X get X results. So if you fit within this category, I can help you too. Results may vary, which is a given across the board, but again, we relate to each other a bit better.
Our end users, what I've seen is our end users are often, they don't want to give testimonials because this is the industry we're in. I don't want you to see
what I've done.
I
am just naturally this gorgeous.
But that's why I think incentivizing programs for that client, that works so well.
It works amazing.
Oh my word. So we literally just, I actually in a process of launching a series, and we're talking about programs and memberships, right?
That's amazing.
I'll be honest, that's what people want. So how do you incentivize someone to come back? Instead of saying buy 1 session for X price or buy 5 sessions and get 5% off, you tell them, or you show them, this is how you're going to get to your desired outcome. And then post that, it's maintenance.
Absolutely.
And tailoring it gets more people to buy into it.
100%. I think there's also 2 different approaches while we are on this topic. There's 2 different approaches that clinics take that I see. Number 1, the client comes in, they choose the technology before they even come to your clinic. So they choose what they want to have, right?
Yeah.
And then there's another approach where you come in, the specialist, the somatologist or the doctor will see you, and I am the professional. So I will decide what treatment plan I'm going to set up for you. And I think there's a place for both, absolutely. Because some clinics will thrive, maybe luxury treatments, they will do better with one or the other. But is that an approach that you see a lot of people take, or is it more one than the other?
Look, I do think it's a combination of both. I think clients who are more well educated in the space and look to understand machinery or products, then they come in and are like, okay, I saw everybody's doing that treatment. I think I need this as well, or I want this. 100%. I think a lot more now is that I think people are also realizing that ChatGPT, as much as it can help us, look, I want a tailored approach. So let me build a relationship with you, my therapist, right? Help me achieve my desired outcome. So what do you think is the best way forward for me? I want to take a step back and also say, when you go to the doctor when you're sick, you don't go there and say, I've got the flu, give me A, B, C, D.
Exactly.
Medication.
I need something, please. I need antibiotics. Quickly, right. It doesn't work like that, yeah.
So, I'd love to see clinics take more of that approach where they've built authority in the market for people to rely on them. You know best. Okay, I'm looking to contour my body, or I'm looking to fix my skin, right? What do you think is going to work best for me? And that's where those programs then start to take a little bit more shape because you're willing to listen.
I think this really goes hand in hand with obviously going back to focusing on your niche, getting something specific that you really specify within your clinic, but also relating back to your personal brand. Because I think if you put yourself out in the industry, listen, I am the best body contouring clinic, I, even being in the industry, I'm not going to argue with you because these are your results. This is what you're doing. Who am I to argue if this is your outcome? How would you say, do brands, or how do you start with building your personal brand within the industry?
Yeah, I think that's great. Very, very great question. I think educational content plays a massive role. I think people don't put that much focus in it. And when we talk educational, we're not just saying, come and teach me about all of the ingredients or exactly how the machine works, but more, what value can it add to you? So does it help you make a decision? Let's put it that way, right? So educational content, it establishes thought leadership,
Yes.
builds trust and credibility, and then you use all of your other content pillars where you're building community, asking questions, because we don't always know what's on people's minds. So asking in the market, like, what are people thinking about if you are in a specific niche? I always say this to our clinic owners: before you decide it's time for the next machine, ask your community. Because if you've established yourself here, when you implement the next treatment, people are like, oh, it's about time. Let's jump on this.
That's so cool.
Right.
Yeah.
So from a brand building perspective, personal brand, I think just showcasing your thought leadership through value-based content, those educational pillars, that plays much longer than all of the other stuff.
I think if you have educational content, your testimonials will automatically testify that I know what I'm talking about, because that will be proof of what you just said. That will be proof of your education. There's nothing worse than people.
Most definitely.
Teaching people. I love how all of us just understood that pause.
Don't say it. But I mean, we post things and we have educational content, but our testimonials and our results don't testify that we actually know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Would you say, Cleo and I always get stuck on this, the perfection part when it comes to posting and the look of it, the feel of it. We always get stuck here because we want obviously to represent a certain image. Would you say that this is something everyone struggles with? And would you say it's very important to focus on the details?
You know what? Again, very pressing topic. I think, again, it goes back to quality versus quantity. And I think just back to the aesthetics side of things, you should rather be doing it than not doing anything at all, because perfection's keeping you back from even taking the next step. You know, and we find that a lot. Oh no, that video didn't look that great, so I'm not going to post it. But post it because there's 10 clients waiting to see that treatment that you just did, or the testimonial, or the process of what you've just done, you know. Just post it, right? And then I always say everything comes in stages, right? Especially from a business perspective. So quality of content is not always the look of it, while that is important, especially on the platforms that we are on. Like, we'll try our best to do it, but if you have an iPhone or whatever,
you'll probably be okay.
You'll probably be okay. You know. And I think just work towards building the brand identity in the long run.
When I started with like pursuing a little bit more of the social media journey, one day I was like doing quite well, and it was like a year into this journey. I was like, this is the new cold calling. I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And I was just like, everything off. And I took everything off. And our social media manager, or our head of marketing at that time, she phoned me. She was like, what are you doing? I'm like, it looks ugly. She's like, it doesn't matter if it looks ugly. It's your journey. And the more you build, you'll rather build on it. And people can see where you came from and what your journey has been, compared to taking it all off because it's not perfect. So I think that's a super valuable point.
I love that because I so often find usually it's the story that sells compared to what you are currently seeing, because I would even do that. Like I would go all the way down and see where someone started, because it's so encouraging to see everyone starts somewhere and look where they are now. And you don't know this, but Cleo is a bit older, so she was like my mentor when I was still studying.
Not that old.
just a little. She looks great.
Actually a grandmother.
But I remember when Cleo just started with her sales journey, we were all still studying. And we were all like hyping her up. We were like, oh my goodness, look at Cleo go. This is so amazing. This is so amazing. And she's thinking, oh, it looks so ugly. So I think the story really sells.
Yeah. And I think just like your story, we self-sabotage ourselves. We see our clinics doing it, but literally it's the journey. People buy into the story, right? So while aesthetics, I want to use that word because that's the loosely used term for how something looks and feels. While that matters, people want to look behind that image or behind the video to see, okay, why am I choosing you in the first place?
I think I listened to it on a podcast once where it was on our one of our educational videos, and she explained that we make decisions, and this is especially important in the aesthetic industry. She said that we make decisions not with the factual side of our brain, which you would think. That is why people often focus on a lot of educational content. So we'll put on a serum and then list all the benefits, which is then triggering the factor or the fact part of the brain, which is our left side. She said we actually make decisions with our right side, which is the emotional side of our brain. And that's why we buy from people, not because of facts. So I can literally, if you like me, I can literally sell you this table.
Oh, 100%.
That's
a few as well. Like your house will probably be filled with
100%. You can sell anything. That's what sales are all about. And I often find that the staff in this industry lack that. They think you're coming for the treatment, so I can be rude. I don't have to look the part. And that's super important. That's why I often advocate for my therapists, please do your hair or just smell good or just do that little bit of an extra act. Like in that hour, you are all about that client.
Most definitely.
It becomes difficult when you have to leave all your problems at home and put on that smile, but it pays off because people remember how you made me feel and they remember that you said you like that product. That was one of my favorite sales tips. I used to say when I was actually selling, I used this product and this is what it did for me without even telling that client, you need this.
Yeah,
exactly.
They would buy it, literally. So I think super valuable.
Yeah.
Obviously, we know that content is quite important, but so often I find that it can be quite overwhelming being consistent and getting to actually almost like follow through with your plan of action. What would you say is something anyone can actually implement to keep that sustainability when it comes to posting?
Yeah, I think people are so afraid of repurposing content and chopping up and changing it. Again, social media right now, it's all about the hook. So you can literally just change the first 3 seconds and someone doesn't even know.
That's so true. That's so true.
So, that goes a long way. And what we find is a lot of social media content, like if you don't do it, if you don't repurpose, and if you don't try, and if you just want to have a brand new piece of content every single day, you are going to burn out. It's going to be hectic. And then I think it goes back to maybe now's the time for you to stop doing it yourself. Right, and have some professionals come in and help you manage and plan. But I think on the side of that is, I watched a podcast, and in this podcast, they were talking about content creation, right? And they said, whenever you post a piece of content, don't think, oh, but yesterday I just spoke about this. No, every piece of content, you should feel like you're talking to someone brand new. So you can take one topic and speak about it a billion times. That's probably the number of people that you want to talk to.
Yes.
Right? Because no one on the back end is saying, oh, but they just spoke about that yesterday. No, in actual fact, it it reevaluates, okay, did I look at this the same way? No, I didn't. Okay, that's quite valuable. And and that's probably pushing your customer down the customer journey a little bit further.
I think that's so valuable because so often we feel like everyone understands the same content piece the same, where it's not like that. So even if you use the same topic for a gazillion times, each individual will perceive it differently.
Most
That's so
definitely.
valuable.
Most definitely.
On that note, this is where you guys obviously come in, and I feel like there's definitely a place. I mean, even business owners, the few people we've spoken to, it's really difficult to have this strategy in place if you're full-time working in the clinic. And that's where you guys are really, really valuable in what you're doing and in the work, and I think so needed. When would you say it's time to get help? So when you look at a clinic and they're not achieving what they need to, when would you say, I think it's time that we actually assist you and help you?
Yeah. I think, as a business owner, we always want to try and do everything ourselves.
Yes.
And reach millions, by ourselves. And if it was possible, it would be so much easier, but unfortunately it's not. And I think when you get to the point where you realize what I did that got me from 0 to 250K a month, for example, in monthly revenue, and now I'm trying. And I just can't get over. Can't even get over to 251. Now it's time for you to
stagnation.
100%. And a lot of clinics sort of stagnate there because they want to do the same thing, but unfortunately, whether it's content related, whether it's sales related, marketing related, what got you to the first quarter is not going to get you to the next.
Absolutely. And I think that's where natural growth comes in, because you grow up to a point, but you've almost used all your own resources because that's how you got to that point. And then you seek LiveSpace.
Look, I'll be honest, right? And a lot of clinics in general, and this I think goes across the board for other businesses as well, is that they look at certain partnerships, like we look at ourselves as a partner, a growth partner. They look at certain partnerships more as an expense rather than an investment.
Yes. Absolutely.
Speaking my language.
Yes. I felt that.
I mean,
the soul.
Literally the same way you would invest in a brilliant piece of equipment.
Yes.
How do you make that equipment
work,
generate revenue for you?
Absolutely.
It's not going to just, you wake up one day and then you've got 100 appointments for it. So in the same way, looking for the right partner that understands your business and your goals and where you're looking to go.
Yes.
That's an investment. It's not an expense.
On that note, I want to quickly just jump in here. How would you say the influencer industry complements or not complements the next phase?
Yeah.
So let's say, for example, I have my own business. Instead of reaching out to a professional like yourself, I reach out to an influencer, which are also professionals in their own way. Would you say that is something that works or complements?
I think it's actually two separate strategies.
I hear you.
Okay.
So what a lot of business owners feel is, I'll work with an influencer, they'll get all the bookings coming in for me. Sorry.
It doesn't work like that.
Actually, what the influencer does is it just helps you elevate your trust and credibility, because if you could do it for them, I can trust you because I follow them. And I think that shift in influencer marketing, we saw over the last few years, it was like, oh, what are you selling? Okay, let me buy that. That's dead and gone now. Now people want authentic content, right? So I'm going to see if you're going there all the time. them
Yes.
before I even make a decision. I
Yes.
don't want to see you here and then you're at the next clinic in 2 months'
Yes.
time. So again, that customer journey is a long one. But if you're able to implement the right steps, we call it a funnel approach.
Yes.
If you're able to do that effectively, use influencer marketing, that becomes one strategy. But yeah, it's not either or.
Okay.
People, they changing their strategies with regards to influencers now because they're obviously biased. So, and people are starting to wake up to that.
Yes.
Influencers are getting cancelled left, right, and center because people understand they sick and tired of the modelly coddly, like, oh, buy this product and buy this because it's a paid partnership.
Yeah.
That's my opinion in the industry. People want real and authentic influencers as well. When we're looking at all of this and everything we said, would you mind sharing 3 key takeaways for our clinics on how to help their businesses grow and evolve in this industry?
Definitely. I think the first and most important thing is don't try to do everything, right? Like understand where you are in your market. How can you leverage that for revenue growth? I always say, make the revenue, take a piece and then reinvest it. And then maybe that's additional equipment. Before you do that though, have a strategy in place. Know how you're going to get clients for that piece of equipment. And again, while you can be talking about the clinical and the scientific benefits and all of those educational pieces, people still buy because of what they're feeling, right? So having those unique offers, very important. Like the pretty picture and say buy 3 sessions and get 1 free, not working. So understand the customer's pain point along with that, with the right strategy. I think number 2, automations. Automations actually help your sales people with multiple touch points. Let's be honest. You're going to see an ad now. You're going to click on it. You're going to leave your details. 5 minutes later, when you go back onto Instagram, what ads are you going to see? So it's sort of like who calls me first, who gives me the best service first. And that's always the start of the customer journey. So automation sort of help you do a few things, right? Like get the customer to come in, pitch up. Because let's be honest, getting a lead is one thing, whether it's through organic content or paid media. Getting the lead's one thing. How do you make sure that they pitch up? Automations help you do that. It helps you get them to come back, right? Again, let's use technology to help us and not feel like it's taking away something from us.
It's a tool. Yes, I love
it's a
that.
tool, right? It's meant to allow us to scale much more effectively. And then you're able to implement some really cool campaigns. It's your birthday, come in, get, 10% off. Or we want to give you, I don't know, a free product. But there's strategies behind implementing the right automations for your business to help you scale. And then I think the third and one of the most important things is having a really strong team.
I love that.
Amen.
Yes. yes.
Yeah, I think, as a business owner, clinic owner, training to do the treatment very important so that we delivering the best level of service when I am in my treatment. But then there's sales training after that where we talk about retail products and how do you give a personalized experience to each and every client that comes in. That's going to help you already boost up your revenue. If you had to look at your clinic and look at your therapists and their product sales, that's going to tell you a lot.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. Malaika, it's been so amazing having you. Thank you for sharing your amazing knowledge and for giving us so much value. I feel like I'm overflowing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We actually have a little tradition on our podcast where the previous guest leaves a question for the next one without knowing who it might be. So our question for you today is, if you could have dinner with one person, past or present, and pick their brain about creativity or business or whatever you feel like, who would it be and why?
Oh my word. No, that's a good one. And that's probably the reason why it's a mystery question, because now I'm on the spot and it
Let's
makes
start first. Who would you have dinner with? Let's break it down now.
You don't even have to think about the conversation.
I'm using your own strategy on you. Yeah.
You know what? Like, yeah, this session. Wow, there's so many people, hey. It's so hard to choose. If I had to think right now, currently, like I'm looking at a lot of women in business who sort of been there, done that, understand, challenges. I don't want to name like 3 or 4, but if I had to say at the top of my head, someone who really started from the ground and now is really building a fantastic business, Leila Homozi.
Yes,
Oh, wow.
yes.
She's a powerhouse.
Oh, no, incredible.
I think,
Please can I join you for dinner?
definitely, let's go together. I think she is a great example of, operations and sales and understanding just from a team perspective what's actually needed to help your business get there. Because your business doesn't get there by you alone. Your team is the make or break of it. So definitely her.
Amazing choice.
And you would pick her brain about everything.
Literally.
Literally everything. How does she even batch that amount of
I
content?
know. They're incredible. No, they are just incredible. What a powerhouse.
Malaika, will you mind also just sharing where everyone can reach you? I think it's been so valuable. I certainly learned a lot in this session. I think I feel very inspired right now. Do you mind just sharing where people can reach you if they want to maybe partner with you, maybe the platforms, if you just mind sharing?
Definitely. So we are extremely active on Meta's platforms, which is Facebook and Instagram. That's where we push all of our educational pieces of content. I would definitely say that that's the primary place to go to if you're looking to talk to us. And then, of course, in our link in bio, we've got our website, direct contact details for myself, my business partner, and of course, the rest of the team alike.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
We will definitely have you on again.
No, we definitely going to do this again. Thank you, ladies, so much. It was an absolute pleasure. Time flies when you're having fun.
I know. How has it already been an hour?
Could have made this 2 hours, but thank you so much. We appreciate it. We'll see you soon, guys, on the next one.
Thank you for tuning in. Remember, everything will be in our description box below, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Bye.